Welcome back. So good to be with you. I've taken about a month off because we've been consumed in a big outdoor landscaping project. Video coming soon. I can't wait to share some of that with you. If you saw what we did with the front porch, we're doing the same in the back. And today they're working around the pool and it's quite loud. So I'm here tucked away in the front room just to be with you. I thought the top of mind thing that I wanted to talk about today is how when we do get distracted and we do get carried away sometimes, which we all do as humans, it's a part of our human experience to kind of get thrown off our game, and how we get back, which would be, steps that we take that help us to become resilient. And there are big things that happen sometimes. There are small things. It's amazing what can throw us off our game. So let's talk about that today. Let's go ahead and get started. Confession. When there's chaos happening all around me and I get excited and I'm focused on something that really, grabs me, I get into the worst eating habits. I'll live on a handful of crackers or chocolate chips or peanuts or almonds. Some of those aren't necessarily bad, but I will forego eating, a good, healthy, well-balanced meal. And then I'm not fueled properly. I don't feel like exercising. It's kind of a slow descent into bad habits. What have I learned that can help me to pop out of that quicker than I used to? I think that's the key to rebounding or resiliency, is knowing how we can get back on track. When I was in coaching school, we are the coachee. We're coached before we learn how to coach. One of the things that I loved very much was a values assessment. And for all of my coachees, it's one of the first things that I wanted to do was to give them a values assessment. It's how we learn to know ourselves and the things that get us really excited about life, the things that get us up in the morning. If you think about it, there are days in your life when you're so excited about the day, or periods of time in your life when you're doing something that just is so invigorating. And other times, it's hard to get out of bed. It's hard to be excited about the day in and day out drudgery. When we think about a set point of like our habits, we all know that it takes effort to grow our natural habits or our natural set point. And it's really not about, I think a lot of people think, oh, I want to become this or I want to become that. I want to have established good eating habits, or I want to be an athlete, but if it's from the outside in, it just never works. Our natural state of being, what we want to elevate is who we actually are and who we were meant to be, and start feeding into and respecting and responding to our true self. That's how we grow. Like our most authentic self is being elevated the more we pour into that. So a values assessment helps us to start the process of knowing who we are and what makes us tick. And let me explain to you how you can find that. If you've never done a values assessment, I'll give you the tools. The best way to do a values assessment is very simple. Go to Google and in the search bar, put in core values list and then images. And you'll probably see about 15 or more images. Take a look at those images. Some of them have like 250 core values. Some have less. So maybe print one or take a look at one. And then what you do is, some of them, I mean, without having a coach, it's kind of hard to know exactly what each value means specifically, but you pick out 10 that you think really represent who you are. And then you look at those 10 and then you prioritize those down to about 4 or 5. And when you have 250 different terms, you are really having to compare, like, if I had to choose between this or that, which would it be? So, like, for instance, adventure, beauty. One of mine is catalyzing, and that's why I think sometimes it's helpful to have a description. So you might want to go to the dictionary and look up some of these terms. It's worth it to kind of do a deep dive in what are the motivating factors for your own life. Catalyzing means that you like being a catalyst for change. And that is specifically why I'm a coach. Anything that I can share that helps maybe the lights go on in a new way, to see something in a new way that kind of invigorates other people, or helps to precipitate change or growth or increasing our joy and happiness. That is catalyzing. That is one of the things that gets me excited about life. One of the other things, and this is a really good example of why sometimes we wake up to values that really are who we are, but we think that we have to reject them. I grew up thinking that it was indulgent to love beautiful things, or creating beautiful things, or even taking care of myself in a way that made me feel pretty, that was indulgent, that was wrong. And yet beauty, natural beauty, God's beauty, nature, and then representing that in the lifestyle that I love to create. I love seeing my world as a canvas that I get to paint. And what is makeup? We kind of paint our face, picking out clothes and colors that make us feel good. That's part of what gets me excited about the day. And to shun that, or to think it's wrong, is learning to go against yourself. And if we're working against ourselves, that's a problem. So it's better to become aware of who we are. In fact, I was just talking to my daughter, who happens to be filming right now, and she was saying that because she has a full-time job and she's never excited to come home and meal prep, but she used to think that's what she was supposed to do. And her big aha is that she's never going to like to meal prep. It's never something that's going to be sustaining. And in a way, I said, well, then you're working against yourself. She's finding other ways to eat healthfully at the end of the day that don't require meal prep. There are lots of ways to peel an orange or just skin an apple. So I think that those are just a couple of examples of how we can be working against ourselves, when in fact we're so much better off when we're aligned with exactly who we are and who we are meant to be. So other than knowing what our values are, if we have had this kind of slow descent into the abyss, and we're not eating right, and we're not taking good care of ourselves sometimes, and we don't end up, having good, clean hair, and we don't feel like getting dressed. It's not like we suddenly one day wake up and we spring back into great habits. Oftentimes it's just a matter of stopping and recognizing, oh, wow, okay, this isn't good. It's time to get back on track. And getting back on track are just small, little, tweaky changes and steps that we start to think about, not big leaps. What are the small steps? In other words, for myself, instead of crackers, I told myself, you know what? When I'm hungry and I'm on the go, I'm going to grab an apple, or I'm going to peel a carrot. I love carrots and hummus. I I love apple with peanut butter. So those are just better choices. Those are fresh, natural choices. I would say that getting up in the morning, getting the sleep cycle back on track starts with getting to bed at a reasonable time. That's a before we go to bed at a reasonable time, we start thinking about sleep hygiene and maybe taking a bath to quiet ourselves instead of like watching TV or having bright lights on or being online. Our whole life experience is built on these tiny little micro choices that we make all day long. And once we start making small little changes, it kind of begets more of those small changes because we can start to feel better. So as my other daughter says, there's nothing like having clean hair to kind of refresh the day. And I think it's true. It's amazing the difference between, well, I have a lot of hair, but having, dirty, unkempt hair versus like fresh, clean, yummy smelling hair, that's like a night and day difference. So that's it for the second step in resiliency and being able to spring back. The next way to rebound and to elevate our life experience is when we treat ourselves like we're someone that we care about and love. So often we do things for the people that we love. We give little gifts, or we have little treats, or little notes. There are all kinds of things that we do to show the people in our lives that we love, but that we love them. But we can do that for ourselves as well. And I was just talking to a friend, and we were talking about hiking, and she said that she just bought this new backpack it has a cooler on it, so that when she hikes, she loves stopping and having a nice ice cold, cool drink and a little snack, like fruit that's cold and chilled. And I said, oh, it's like you plan ahead of time to give yourself this gift on your hike. And when we start thinking about how to take care of ourselves, setting ourselves up for success, whether, I know I've done a wardrobe video, we've done lots of cooking videos, but those are all ways that we can take care of ourselves and treat ourselves with respect and kindness. And it takes a little forethought, but when we put those under the umbrella of little gifts that we give ourselves, rather than I have to eat right or I have to exercise, rather than I'm going to make this fun. I'm going to do this as a gift to myself. It certainly can go a long way in just getting back on track and rebounding. And lastly, I'm going to share with you what I believe, what I have learned in all my years of coaching. There was a theme that I started to see that wove through every single interaction that I had, every way that we all get stuck or just kind of hit the wall with our goals and our dreams and the things that we really want, has everything to do with belief. If we don't believe it, we cannot, and I don't want to use the catchphrase here, we can't achieve it. If we don't believe it, we're not going to take steps and measures to work toward it, because we don't even have an understanding of what it would look like. We may want certain things. Believe is having it in your mind's eye, the thing that you cannot already see visually. It's faith. Faith, the more we can develop in ourselves a belief in something we cannot see, there's hope in that. And it's what drives everything. Anybody who's ever achieved anything, you go from nothing, something that is a blank canvas in our life, and you turn it into something amazing, slowly but surely, because you're moving into the vision that you have. So I encourage more than anything, like it surpasses everything, is to have faith that who you are is somebody that is spectacularly gifted in very specific ways, and to believe in that who you are can just continue to blossom and evolve into something that you already have in your heart. That was already planted there to begin with. I believe that it doesn't just come out of nowhere. So believe in your dream, believe in yourself. We can't, if it's something that we want, it's not already there, it's not already present. It has to be a belief. And then it becomes manifest. So the other thing I would say before I close here today is we have this channel, we have a collective wisdom. I mean, every day you guys tell me things that just blow my mind, and the beauty and the warmth and the love that comes through you is just so magnificent. So I want to hear things that you do in ways that you rebound. I just named a few here today, but the collective wisdom here is fantastic. I mean that with all my heart. So I love reading your comments, and this way you can read each other's comments as well. That's how we grow. We hold hands and we grow through life together. Great time being with you today, and I hope to see you again very soon.